All right, so we're going to talk about karmic partners, soulmates, twin flames, and then kind of the different types of twin flames. Now, obviously, all of you guys have heard about these, or not all of you, but I wanted to kind of go into detail of how they fit into your path, your divine plan. Now, the divine plan is something that we all signed up for, right? It's written in the stars. That's why when you have horoscopes, it resonates with you so well, because this was a path that you chose, right? And there's millions of people out there that chose the same path. So it's like, that's why a horoscope resonates with so many people, if that makes sense. So basically, on this path that we sign up for, the whole goal is that we want to get through all these cycles, these lessons, and reach enlightenment, right? At the very end of it, it's to where you have cleared out all your karma, you've learned your lessons, you've done your healing work, and then the next step is enlightenment, right? The 5D. You don't have to come back, you get to live a life of beauty. I mean, honestly, I don't know what it is, but I've heard it's great. So basically what happens is karmic partners are considered lessons, okay? So it's weird to talk about a human being being a lesson, but a human being is a lesson. But a karmic lesson can also be people, places, or things, right? But I'm going to talk about a person. A karmic person is somebody that will be sent to you. Now, karmics can be not just relationships. They can be your children, they can be your parents, they can be a relative, a coworker, whatever it is. But these people were put into your life for some reason to learn a specific lesson that you needed to learn. And so for an example, my mother was a karmic, right? And she was supposed to teach me, because I've talked about in the past, she was abusive. She was a person that was hurt too, right? And her lesson was supposed to be that she was going to heal and be a better mother, be the mother that she never got, that kind of thing. But that didn't happen. So with me, with a karmic, like any childhood, you have a karmic, you'll know it's a karmic because it's toxic, if that makes sense. It's something that wasn't good. It's something that taught you something about yourself, whether you realized it was a lesson or not at the time. So with her being abused and neglected and going through everything that I went through, it created something inside of me that created behaviors. It created patterns that I had. It created a lack of self-love, self-acceptance, confidence, those things, right? So basically you will go through life just sort of meeting karmics until you learn the lesson of why you're meeting that particular karmic. So let's say it's a relationship, okay? So you are dating someone, right? And let's say I date someone, but I end up dating someone, or I consistently date someone that's kind of more overpowering than I am, slightly narcissistic, in ways that they're not not abusive or anything like that, but in ways treated me sort of like my mother, or made me feel like my mother made me feel, if that makes sense. So the lesson in those and continuing to date these type of people is that I need to learn to love myself. I need to learn that I don't need acceptance from anyone. I need to learn to accept myself within, if that makes sense. Karmics can also be like a job. Let's say I always kind of end up in jobs that I don't really like, but I'm there for the money. And so I'm always unhappy. I'm always tired when I come back. I always think about my dream job and I know what it is, but I just never think that I should do something like that, right? So these are different lessons. And so you will continue to get these people in your life or these jobs in your life until you take a plunge and learn the lesson from it, to where with mine, it was the relationship. It was, to me, it was after each relationship, it was like more and more, I started to learn more about myself and realizing that I can be strong and that I wanted better, right? I wanted to be treated better. And so basically what happens is, let's say I realize that in a relationship, and so I break up with that person. and I completely move on, what happens is the universe will send down a test just to make sure that you've done your test, your healing work. And usually the divine does not want you to jump into another relationship right after one. Because after you learn the lesson, there's still so much healing that you need to do. So always know that even though you've felt like you've conquered something where you're like, you know what, I don't like to be treated this way, I'm done, like I want better. There's still so much you need to do, and you need to learn about yourself. But a lot of people don't do that, right? They're like, I want to find someone else, I want to find someone better, I know what I want now. But what you'll get is a test, and the divine will send you this test to make sure that you've learned the lesson. And 9 times out of 10, if you didn't do the healing work in between those times, then you're not going to learn the lesson, and you're going to end up going down this road with a 2-year relationship with somebody where you're like, it just ended the same as the last one did, if that makes sense. Now, if you did learn the lesson, let's say you learn the lesson, you don't want to be treated this way, I don't want to date another narcissist or whatever it is, you break up with that person. And you do the healing work. You learn a lot about yourself. You gain so much knowledge about what you want and what you will and will not put up with. You've done your work. And you will still get that test, even though the divine's like, okay, they've really done their work, but you're still going to get that test. And hopefully with all the work that you've done, that you will notice the signs, the triggers that are similar to the last person, and that you will not go down that road, and you will keep going. Then what happens is the divine will send you your soulmate. So that leads us to soulmates. Now, soulmates are a good lesson. Soulmates can be, again, people, they can be your coworkers, they can be friends, they can be your kids, your parent. Like soulmates are a beautiful lesson. And some are with us our whole lives, and some just temporarily, and some just a weekend, you know. And these people are sent to us to kind of just like give us a little bit of a break after all the healing work we've done. But it's also someone that's going to come in and kind of help guide you down that healing path, to help you love yourself more, or it's to educate you about things that you should know but you don't, and it's just, they're lessons or teachers to us, right? It's a good teacher, a good lesson. And soulmates can absolutely be love. They can be passionate love. It can be someone that you spent 10 years of your life or your whole life with. Soulmates are a positive thing, and you always know that when it's like, if you've had a soulmate, you still think about that person even if that person's not in your life, right? It's because it's somebody that really taught you something about yourself, or just made you feel good, or took you down a path, or helped you down a path that was not easy, if that makes sense. Or you could be married to them for the rest of your life. And that's a soulmate. And soulmates will only come in relationship wise if you've done your healing work, and you know what you want, and you've learned the lessons, if that makes sense. And when it comes to like a friend, again, sometimes soulmates are sent to us all the time. Sometimes you could be going through a hard time, a hard breakup, and the divine will feel like you need someone to help you on your path. You'll need someone that maybe has been on a similar path as you, right? And the divine notices you're a little stuck. And what will happen is they will send in someone, a soulmate. And the soulmate, you'll meet up, and you'll have similar experiences possibly, and likes. And this person will help you get to where you need to go, if that makes sense. A lot of times soulmates are sent to us because we've got a little off our path, and the divine just sends them in just to give us a little bit of a nudge back on our path. And then there's twin flames. Okay, so twin flames are the most difficult relationship that there is. Now, everybody thinks that everybody's in twin flame relationship, and that is not true. A twin flame relationship is like two people that actually signed up to do the most difficult, most challenging venture together, right? They have a mission. We all have a mission, and that mission is to heal and to teach love, to teach the world about love, right? and we take our experiences and then we teach those, and the people that will resonate with that are people who had similar experiences, if that makes sense. So twin flames, you would choose to be a twin flame if you were up for a huge challenge, right? So there's different types of twin flames. I mean, they're all one soul, right? So basically they're yin and yang. And most of the time, one is kind of a darker than the other, right? One's more on the light side, one more on the dark side. But they've both had similar paths. They've both been down kind of similar experiences, right? Not the same, but just they've been through a lot of hell, okay? So like if you met your person on the bus and you've never really had a hard life or anything, that is not your twin flame. Twin flames are for people who have a mission that is hard as hell. So basically, you'll meet your twin flame. The first time you'll meet your twin flame, the divine will coordinate it to be a chance meeting, okay? Like, for example, mine was on a dating site, okay? What you'll feel when you meet your twin flame is a recognition of some sorts, something familiar, something that you'll know, like, you'll just be like, do I know this person? I feel like I've met this person, or there'll just be this comfortableness about it. Like you'll probably open up to this person when you don't usually open up like that to anyone, because you both actually know each other in the 5D. That makes sense. So this meeting, this chance meeting, is not usually intended to be the meeting. This chance meeting is supposed to trigger something inside of both of you, right? You'll both have felt something, but what happens is one person usually runs, and the person that runs is the person that probably needs the most healing, the person that probably has blocked themselves from healing their inner insides, the part that they're keeping inside, the pain, the trauma that they've dealt with in their life. And it's not that the other one is not dealing with that either, but this one has probably done a little more healing work than that person. So what happens is the chaser will be this, like, I've never had this experience before, I've never met anyone like this before, and they'll just chase this person and not even know why, right? But during this chase, it's kind of like you will start to learn things about yourself, about it's like you're forced to really heal because of the rejection that your twin flame gives you. So they will reject you, and they will run, and you will suddenly stop chasing a little or all the way and realize that there's a lot you want to heal about yourself, because A, you want to be with this person, or A, you're wondering why you're chasing somebody that doesn't want you. So it's kind of it's supposed to trigger a healing in the chaser, but it's also supposed to trigger a healing in the runner too. The runner, even though they're like this seems like someone that really wants a relationship and I don't want that, or wow, this person's really intense, I'm attracted to them, but and so they'll run. So during that time, the chaser is doing the healing work, right? And sometimes there'll be other chance meetings between them or not, but usually they never can be together. They will never truly be together unless they both do the healing work. So this is the hardest relationship to ever bring together. It's a rare thing, especially the ones that have the more darker, harder missions on the plane. So basically what happens is once that person does the healing, the other one will usually get triggered to do the healing when the other one disconnects. When the other one's kind of like, well, I'm not going to chase somebody that's not going to be receptive to me, and then they go off and date or marry other people, right? But that will trigger because you're connected by energetic cords, but by your soul too. So that will usually, if you run, they'll trigger them to be more intrigued with you and come your way, right? And then they start to do the healing work, like why do I want this person, and if I want this person in my life, I must have to do this healing work. I have to accept things about myself, and they go through this long journey of healing the way that the runner did first. And so that person usually is triggered to be the chaser, and the other one is the runner. Now, this doesn't always happen. A lot of times, one is so stuck in their dark, and it's mostly ego, right? You cannot be with your twin until you have an ego death. An ego death is when you've done your healing work, you've broken down that pride that you've built up in yourself, where you've hide a lot of the darkness inside of you. An ego is something that hides who you truly are. And most of the times, I'm going to say men are like that, or narcissists are like that. So a lot of times they refuse to do the work. And what happens with that is that you have to decide if it's something that you want to wait for this person, or if you want to keep moving and the divine will give you a soulmate. Now, in levels of darkness, twin flames, again, are not easy. A twin flame, if you're on the twin flame journey, it's because you've been through a lot of trials and tribulations in your life. You've experienced a lot of pain, a lot of trauma, and it's like you both were running parallel lives without meeting each other to do this work, right? Because eventually when you do come together, if you do come together, then your mission is to basically not just, you have a mission to do things on the planet. It's like you also are showing people like about healing and what it takes to heal. You're actually showing other twin flames how it works, if that makes sense. Now, like in my scenario is a little different, and a lot what both my twin and I have been through in our lives have been, we've been cursed. We dealt with generational curses. We were cursed by people in our family. A lot of people in our family, or the people we were around, were very dark, Freemasons, or they delved in black magic or Satan worshiping, believe it or not. And that was something I didn't realize about my family until like in the last 2 years. And so this was something, a lot of curses that I had to break recently. And what our mission was supposed to be was that because we both dealt with this type of thing, that we were supposed to come together and pretty much conquer demons, and teach people about the dark and how to conquer the dark, how to free yourselves from the dark forces, dark entities, that type of thing. But it's also, and just a lot of exposure, whistleblowing, just kind of bringing light to the dark, if that makes sense. But the problem with mine was that because our mission was so dark and so hard, and that I wanted to be with my twin so bad, but the divine knew that he was very dark. And so what they did was they gave me a false twin, or you call it your evil twin. And this person they will look similar to your twin. They will kind of act like them. There'll be something similar about them. And you will think that this person is your twin. And what happens is this person is actually dark. But you won't see that right away. It's like they'll be hiding things from you. You will think they're great. You will think this is like a great relationship. This is like two peas in a pod. But then over time, a lot of times, like in my situation, this person was putting a lot of spell work on me to keep me around. And which explains so much later, because like I usually would never stay with somebody that treated me the way that he treated me, with just like physical abuse, emotional, mental, staying with somebody that had a drug habit or that was cheating all the time or stealing money from me. Like I couldn't figure out why I kept staying with this person, like, because I would never do that. And so that was my lesson, was because I had to heal from that, because they knew that I would need to be prepared for the one that is my twin. And they sent the twin somebody that is also the same, where this person will look and be like, man, this person's sweet. There's something great about this person. They're so kind. They're gentle. They're soulmate. That's like a soulmate, or that if this is just somebody that I want to be with. And usually the dark will come out later. And most of the time with him, I'm told that this person that he met has been putting spell work on him for a long time, but he doesn't know that, just like I didn't. The part that's hard is it's like it makes your life go into tailspin. Like, I was very lucky. Like, I always seemed to have money. I was doing well. I loved my job. I loved my life. I loved my friends. And by the time like I was through this relationship with my false twin, I literally was drained of my life. I didn't have any more money. I had no energy. I was lost. I was at the bottom of the barrel. And that's what they'll do. They break you down to nothing. But they kind of want you to be, the divine wants you to be at nothing, to be prepared, because they kind of want you to just tear everything out of yourselves and start over, if that makes sense. So with my twin, it got to the point where this person was actually attacking me himself with magic, and I mean, I even think that he wanted to murder me at one point, or maybe still does, but it's because of these dark forces, right? And it's because he's lived through so much dark in his life that the divine is finally like, this person's never gonna come out of this. And it's sad, because not necessarily because I wanted to be with them. I mean, because I'm kind of over that whole part of it. It's just, I'm so sad for him, because I can't help him, if that makes sense, because he doesn't want it. Yeah, not because he doesn't want it, but just because it's like I knew what he's going through. I went through it, and I wish that I could have shown him how to get out of it, but he didn't want to hear it. So what happens with that is that I don't want to be in the dark anymore. I didn't want to wait for this person anymore. When I found out the things that he was doing to me alongside with others, I asked the divine to cut the cord, and that I wanted another divine partner, because I wanted to keep going. So what happens with that is they will cut it, the energy, the soul tie that you have with your twin, if you choose to do so. And then that person will usually lose their divinity, their protection, their like gifts, their psychic gifts, their legacy, their manifestations, their wealth, like their generational wealth. And a lot of it's in hopes that they still will one day wake up, right? So the whole point of that, to let you know this, is that always know that you just have to keep going, and don't wait around for a twin. And just know that everything that you're in, every relationship, every scenario is a lesson. So when you ever in some sort of scenario, right? Like when this person did such horrible things to me and I had to drag myself back up, it was literally like, I felt like the divine was so cruel, and I didn't want to be spiritual. I didn't want to believe in this stuff. I hated God. I hated everything. I didn't want anything to do with this. And the divine was fine with that, because it was like I was shedding everything away from myself. And even though I distanced myself from spirituality and the whole path, and I didn't care, it's like you come back around to it again, because you're doing that healing work, and then you start seeing those synchronicities, and you start to feel like the divine around you, the love. When you're going through things, it's like they'll send you something just to remind you that they're there, and then it just makes you feel good. So that's kind of an explanation of the kind of ties that you'll have. And again, these all fit into cycles, karmic cycles. So you can be in a karmic cycle with a twin, with a twin or a soulmate. It's just that they might be helping you out of that karmic cycle if it's a soulmate. And with the twins, if they're together, they don't necessarily have to be romantically involved. There'll always be this pull towards each other, this always wonder about each other. But again, you have a mission, and you don't have to be romantic. You can be friends. The whole point of it is the divine doesn't give a crap about that. They've basically put you through these cycles to have you be at a point where you can take on the world if you need to. And so that's kind of why when you get to this point, they want you to still try. But again, twin flames, they don't always make it. And most of the time they don't. And there's always usually moon cycles and stuff too, where twin flames, it's like the energy is crazy to where more twins are starting to come together. Now here's the other thing. When twin flames are close to being together, dark forces will come in. And these will come in forms of people, places, or things. These will be people who suddenly want to sabotage you and don't even know why. These are spirits that come in and basically take over people that just all of a sudden want to sabotage you, hurt you, do spell work on you, sabotage you, ambush you, steal from you. And these people end up being your family and friends, people that you're close to. And these people they're trying to take you down without even knowing it, because they don't want you to meet your twin. Because once you meet your twin, there's not really anything you can do to pull them apart. So it's almost like demonic forces in some way are sending people to stop this, if that makes sense. So I hope this all makes sense. And again, I always encourage you to do your own research on this and stuff. A lot of this is based on my experiences, but also a ton of research and just the stuff that I get from the divine. And it's just things I feel called to talk about, I think, that are important. And again, if you have any questions or anything, or if you have experiences that you want to share, I would love to hear them. And I will see you in the next video.